Hello nerds and nerdettes, welcome back to the channel where once again we have a new video for you guys. This video being the one meant to represent my haul for the month of June. A very exciting haul for me personally because this is the month that I attended AwesomeCon, and it's always great to actually go to a lot of these cons and pick up books for very decent prices. But also we have a big announcement which some of you may be aware of, but just for those that may not be. But without further ado, let's get ready to jump into the haul. But first, a quick reminder that if you are looking for any of these books or any books in general, to use the channel sponsor organicpricebooks.com. Use the discount code STAYNERDY for $2 off your order. Or if you're getting 3 or more books, you can use the discount code STAYNERDY, ship it together for 5% off your order. It's a great way to help support the channel as well as Organic Price Books. But let's officially get into the haul. Starting first with the big announcement, which some of you probably are aware of, probably most of you guys. But a quick reminder that I did launch some merch for the channel. I am wearing one of the shirts currently at this time. A quick look at it, not on a model, or not really a model, but we do have Stay Nerdy on the front and the channel's logo on the back. Great t-shirts. I'm very happy with the way they turned out. There's also stickers, 2 other designs for t-shirts, and my personal favorite, which is a bookmark, which I'm not sure if you guys can see that. It says Stay Nerdy on it. And they're also metal. Super excited to share this kind of process with you guys and give you a way to kind of rep the community that you all are a part of, as well as helping support the channel, which I'm always thankful for any of you guys doing in any capacity. Obviously, this is my first dip into the merchandise kind of world, so for those of you that do pick up shirts, stickers, bookmarks, whatever it is, I would love to have feedback from you guys and criticism from you guys how I can make either the product or the process better for you guys, the viewers, you guys, the community members. But without further ado, we can actually get into the haul and go over some of these books. First up is manga, of course, as you guys know, and my only manga pickups are volume technically 3 and 4 of Tokyo Revengers in the 2-in-1s. This volume has volumes 5 and 6, and this volume has volumes 7 and 8. I really only collected the first volumes because I wasn't sure if I was going to do the deep dive. I know this series has a lot of volumes, so I wanted to get the first 2 volumes to kind of decide if I was going to continue collecting it. I have since read volume 1 or volumes 1 and 2, and I did very much enjoy my reading experience. It's a very interesting genre-bending story that has to do with time travel and kind of like time loops, as well as Tokyo street gangs. The character of Takamichi is very relatable for me personally, especially his younger self and kind of what he was going through during that period of time in his life. My one gripe is probably what a lot of you guys have noticed if you are collecting these physically. The texture changes between volume 3 and volume 4. This almost has a texture to it. There's no real way to show you guys unless you guys touch the volume. While this volume has 0 texture to it, it is just your standard like glossy cardstock style of cover. But I much rather this style than this, but I'm a sucker for uniformity. I just kind of wanted them all to be the same, whether it's this or this, so it is what it is. Happy to get them in, happy to continue the story. You can definitely look forward to a review on volume 1 on the channel coming up here soon, but that does wrap up manga, so we'll head to the indie titles. First up for indie titles is the Ncal by Mobius. This is published by, I don't know why that's falling over, Humanoids. This is not something that I've read, which I'm sure a lot of you readers out there are probably, finger wagging at me. But this is regarded by some as the best graphic novel ever. This is also the inspiration behind the Fifth Element movie starring Bruce Willis. So definitely something I've wanted to experience for a very long time, but me being more of a Capes and Cal reader, I've always focused on Marvel and DC kind of more, but it's about time to get the hardcover, read it, and let you guys know my thoughts. I'm very excited to read it and get that review out for you guys, and also to hear from you guys, the readers, your thought process and the way you received this story overall, because honestly, our community is what is the most important to me, and I definitely value you guys' opinions on pretty much everything that I review. So that does wrap up the Ncal, but we'll jump to the next book, which is going to be The Good Asian by Image. I won't even try to pronounce the creators' names because I'm sure I will butcher it. Um, I don't know anything about this title. I've heard that it is a crime noir style story with mystery elements, which is exactly why I've stayed away from reviews about this story. I am a huge fan of crime noir as well as mystery, but I typically like to go into those stories blind. That way, the mystery stays mysterious, since that's kind of the entire point. But from what I do know, it is a crime noir story. The treatment of the book is beautiful. It has a Eisner Award, which is nothing to shake a stick at either. So definitely pumped to check this out. This did come out last month, so it did come out fairly recently. So expect a review on this book on the channel. That wrapped up indies, so now into the big two, starting with DC. And I do have Catwoman, Lonely City by Cliff Chang, a Black Label book. Heard nothing but good things. Haven't read it. I typically don't read a whole lot of Black Label just because I'm a sucker for continuity, really. I like reading main continuity storylines. But I've heard nothing but good things. I'm super excited to dive in and get a review out because there's been so many reviews on this book just absolutely championing it. So I am super excited to see if it lives up to the hype or if it lets me down. And obviously, you guys, the community, will be first to know because I'm definitely going to be filming this one. But extremely excited to get it in. I'm a huge fan of Cliff Chang. His art in particular is absolutely breathtaking. I believe he's the artist on Paper Girls. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost 100% sure on that. And it's very pastel-y, lots of differing and changing color palettes throughout. Um, it's it's going to be a not so much fitting story for Gotham, but a fitting story for the character of Catwoman. But we'll jump to the next DC book. Next up, I've lumped these two together because they are written by the same man, which is Tom King. We have Human Target, which is a Black Label book that I have read. And then we have Heroes in Crisis, which is also by Tom King. Human Target is a very interesting story and kind of twist on the DC universe in a way. The less I say about it, the better. I think it's one of those books that going in blind is very advantageous to the reader, so I won't say a whole lot. Heroes in Crisis, I believe my first haul ever on the channel. I picked up The Price and Other Stories, and here we are finally getting the Heroes in Crisis hardcover. It's about time. Um, this story, Heroes in Crisis, does get a lot of flack because of what takes place, specifically what takes place involving the character of Wally West, the Flash. This is in main continuity. It has been somewhat retconned since, so it will be kind of nice to go into it with a clear mind. I don't remember hating it necessarily story-wise, especially some of the mystery elements, but I do remember being pretty disappointed with what was done to my favorite Flash, which is Wally West. So it's going to be interesting to go through it once again, do a reread, and kind of go into it clear-headed, knowing how it ends, and just see how it performs once again. And obviously, I will be sharing that process with you guys. But that wraps up these two books, so we'll jump into our final DC book, which happens to be an omnibus, which is going to be Batman No Man's Land Volume 1. In my last haul, I got Road to No Man's Land, and I mentioned wanting to pick up the 3-volume set that covers that entire era of Batman. There's Road to No Man's Land Volume 1, and No Man's Land Volume 2. All three are omnibuses. This is 9 times out of 10 in my number 2 spot for my favorite Batman stories or Batman era. Typically, the book that, or the era that overtakes this is Nightfall, but depending on the mood I'm in, I could definitely put this in the number 1 spot. Very interesting story, revolves around a Gotham that was hit by a seismic earthquake that completely devastated the city. The rest of the world pretty much cut ties with Gotham, allowing it to be taken advantage of and ruled by essentially Batman's rogues gallery. And Batman and the Bat family are pretty much left to clean up the city, clean up the pieces. It's a very interesting story, very interesting just kind of era for Batman because this spanned it for a decent amount of time, Gotham being in ruins. It also was the inspiration for Dark Knight Rises in the Christian Bale trilogy as well. So if you guys enjoyed that movie, this is kind of the inspiration for it. So check this out. But super excited that I got Road to No Man's Land, now No Man's Land. So I only have one more volume to finish that set. But that does wrap up DC, so we can jump into my Marvel books. First up for my Marvel books are going to be, or is going to be, The Amazing Spider-Man Beyond, the Omnibus, a very recent release. I did do a review for this on my channel, but before you hit that, just a quick reminder that there are going to be spoilers in that, so just be aware before you click on it. But this is a very interesting era for Spider-Man in general. This did happen very recently in singles. And there's a reintroduction or return of a character that we haven't really seen in Spider-Man comics in a very long time. I'm going to navigate spoilers completely during this little overview, I guess. But it gets somewhat of a bad rap because of the character that is reintroduced and that character having a little bit of a bad rap, but I'm a huge fan of that character. They were reintroduced in this story, and I loved it. I enjoyed the development, even if it wasn't the way I necessarily wanted his development to go. But still, I'm happy that that character was brought back into comics and kind of explored more. But definitely check this out. If you're a Spider-Man fan, I think you would enjoy it. You have a lot of very similar story qualities that were explored during the Superior Spider-Man run. So if you kind of are understanding what I'm hinting at, definitely check this out. And obviously use the channel sponsor when you're hunting it down. Next up is XMen, the Mutant Massacre Omnibus. I got this for a very, very decent price because there's a slight ding and there is a remainder mark, but remainder marks to me are like awesome because that means I'm going to get for extremely cheap because of a dot. But I am a huge X-Men fan, more a modern X-Men fan. I don't necessarily love a lot of the Silver Age stuff. Some of the Claremont stories I do enjoy, but the run overall, I typically lean more towards modern X-Men. But I do want a lot of those old school kind of X-Men stories in my library, but there's no way that I'm going to be picking up 5 volumes of Uncanny X-Men and 2 or 3 of X-Men. I don't have the funds for that, so I am going to mainly pick up the crossover and event omnibuses that have to do with the X-Men, which is this one, Fall of the Mutants, Inferno, just to name some. So I will be looking for those and adding those into the library, but that does wrap up this book, so we'll jump to the next. Next up for Marvel, I have the Empire Omnibus, which I also got for a ridiculously discount price because of a remainder mark as well. I'm actually not a massive fan of this event. This event was going on during the pandemic, so it did very much suffer during that time because of how it was being released and really the production of the story in general. But this is an Avengers and Fantastic Four crossover event, even though you're going to have tie-ins with the entire Marvel universe. That's kind of what I remember about Empire, is it having like 20, 30 tie-in issues that had little to do with it or a lot to do with it, and really was a catch-22. But I still wanted to get it in. It is a fairly recent story that's being collected in Omnibus. It is a very thick omnibus as well. And for the price that he was practically giving it away for, I had to pick it up. But super pumped that I was able to pick it up, especially for the price that he was, like I said, practically giving it away for. But that wraps up Empire, so we'll jump to the next book. Sorry, had to refocus my camera. Next up is a whale of mine. I am trying to collect the original Cosmic Saga or Infinity Saga, however you would like to reference it, of Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity Crusade, and Infinity War. This is Infinity Crusade. Very, very excited that I was able to pick this up. So that does leave Infinity War to finish that trilogy. Such an amazing story. This is the first cosmic saga that took place in Marvel that really introduced us to that very layered style of storytelling that involved the cosmic side of Marvel. I got this for a ridiculously discounted price, especially for what it's going for on the aftermarket. And it is out of print, so it is a whale that I was able to track down. Super pumped for that. And I'm just excited to kind of finish this and not have to hunt it down anymore. There's so much backlog omnibuses that I still have to get into the library, and this is one of them. And it's always exciting to find those out of print books for ridiculous prices, especially if it's below retail. So super pumped to get this in. This is a whale, so I was able to harpoon one, and very excited to share that with you guys. But we can go ahead and finish up with our last Marvel book. Last Marvel book is none other than Spider-Man 2099, the Omnibus Volume 1. Such an exciting release for really everyone, me included. I do have a review for this, which I'll leave up above, but this is an omnibus that a lot of people were championing for, asking for a very, very long time, and we finally got it. Of course, it came out when the movie Across the Spider-Verse was coming out, so that made sense. But this does have Miguel O'Hara as Spider-Man 2099, and you get to see him in a futuristic take of New York and become the futuristic 2099 version of Spider-Man. This did come out in the 90s. It has that 90s edge, that 90s flair, the whole bombastic art and paneling, everything you could want from a 90s comic, and this is arguably probably one of the most popular 90s comics. So super excited that it was collected in an omnibus, and it's a volume 1, so we're probably going to get even more, especially the way this sold. So super excited, but that does finish up the haul. But that does wrap up today's video. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Thank you for listening to the channel sponsor, my merchandise rant, everything like that. Of course, same as every haul, comment down below. Let me know what you guys picked up. I want to hear your hauls. I want to hear what you want me to review or read first in my lineup of my haul. It's always fun to kind of go over these books and which ones I've read or not read, and kind of look at my month in a retrospective way, kind of my journey to finding these books. It's always fun to do that for you guys. But comment down below. Also, let me know if you've read Ncal or The Good Asian. Let me know what to expect. I'm very interested in checking those out very, very soon. Those are at the top of the TBR pile, so let me know kind of what to expect, but try to avoid spoilers if you can. But other than that, thank you so much for watching once again. Feel free to check out those links down below, my link tree and my socials, and of course, as always, stay nerdy.